Hello and welcome back to another G Auto repair video. Today we're going to be talking about AC leaks, primarily in the evaporator core, such as in this vehicle. Now AC leaks can pretty come from anywhere in the system. Most commonly the port valves here. There's little Schrader valves in there that tend to leak. Those are the most common culprits of AC leaks. You can also have connections, O-rings. Each connection should have an O-ring. Seals, such as the ones in front of the compressor here, they tend to leak too. Condensers, probably won't be able to see it, but it's in here, right here in front of the radiator. They tend to get beat up by little rocks while you're driving down the road and stuff like that. Sometimes they get damaged and start leaking. Also, sometimes the hoses or line themselves tend to leak, such as in the crimps here. Sometimes they tend to leak right from the crimp. The line themselves, they do leak, but normally when they leak, it's because something damaged it. Something rubbed on it, cut it, or has been rubbing for a while on the frame or something. They eventually work a little pinhole in them and it will start to leak. But normally speaking, the tubes themselves, the metal lines themselves, do not leak unless something has damaged them. Now in this case, this is a 2011 Dodge Ram 1500 6-cylinder. This has a situation where the evaporator core is leaking. I've already confirmed that, and I just wanted to go through the steps on how you would find a leak, any leak at that. As you can see, I've already started the removal process. We do have to move this dash out of the way. It's really not a bad job compared to what I've done before. I think within an hour I had, or less, I had everything. I already had the dash out here. I just put it back because I stopped last night. It was raining really bad and I really couldn't do much because of the weather. So I just put it back here. It just hangs on these little hangers here. So we're just gonna move this out of the way to gain access to the HVAC box, which is right here. We got to pull that out to replace the evaporator core. The issue is the evaporator core. I've already confirmed it, and I just want to show you guys some of the tools of the trade. There are several methods out there of detecting a leak, some more common than others. So first of all, let me show you what I have and what I normally use, and then we'll talk about a little of the unconventional methods. Stay tuned. Okay, so here we have common tools of the trade for leak detection. We have the traditional dye method, where you inject dye into the system, let it work its way through, and then you can go with this special light and glasses. This is a UV light, and it'll make the dye glow where the leak is at. And we have what some call the sniffer, an electronic leak detector, such as this one by ATD. Very similar to the Snap-on model. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but this is a ATD 3699. It works very well. It's one of the simpler ones. It's got the latest standard, I believe. Here they are. Those, I believe, if I remember correctly, are the latest standards. These things are not cheap. So if you go to a shop to get your AC diagnosed and they charge you 80, 100, sometimes even over $100 to check your AC and determine where the issue is, don't become overly offended, because what they use to find your problem, just like any other problem in your car, is very costly. This right here can run about almost $300. The higher end Snap-on ones easily over the $400 mark, closer to the $500-600 mark, depending on what model you get. This one is a little more cheaper, but it's still expensive. This is from Blue Point, which Snap-on sells, and it's a price range of $100 and something, $200, something to that effect. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but we need these things to diagnose an AC leak. I tend to use a combination depending on the circumstances of both. There are other systems out there where you introduce a gas such as CO2, for example, the bullseye leak detection system, where you introduce a CO2 into the system, and then you come with something similar to this, a little sniffer, and find the leak. And then there's a spray that you spray it on there, and it goes in yellow, I believe, and it turns pink when it reacts with the CO2. I mean, there's many other methods to use. I use a combination of these two, and then there's another one that is not really common and is really not the right way to do it, and I'll explain why. And sometimes I just charge the system with compressed air and use a little spray bottle with soapy water and watch it bubble up. Now, the reason why they say you shouldn't do that is because you don't want to introduce any moisture in the system that may be in the compressed in the compressor and the lines or whatnot, and then that can give you issues. But normally it's just a little bit of air, pressurize it, close the valves, and then go to work. And sometimes you can find it that way. I used that method a couple weeks ago to find a leak on an RV, and I found it, I repaired it, and that's the method that I use. Not very common, but it does work, and it'll get you out of a pinch. So what I'm gonna do here is we're gonna go to the car with each one of these tools, and then I'm gonna show you how that works and how you can find your leak. Stay tuned. Okay, to start, we're gonna use the electronic leak detector. Very simple to use. We're just gonna turn it on. There is a warm-up period. It normally is 15-20 seconds, something like that, and the tool will let you know when it's ready. Sometimes you can kind of suspect where the leak is if you just do a visual. You see like an oily spot on the condenser, something like that, there's probably a leak there. So the tool is ready. Normally I start with a sensitivity of high to detect the leak, and then you just want to run this, kind of working with one hand here. Okay, now there's kind of sensitive, so you want to bang them up against anything, but you're just gonna kind of, these are one of the first things I check. See if there's any refrigerant in there. I hit it. That wasn't a detection. I just tapped the tip of it. You go around the compressor, the joints, the hoses, and so forth. But since I know this is a evaporator core issue, I want to take you straight to the source of the problem and how I found it. Now, depending on the system, you may have a little access here in the resistor, depending on where the evaporator core is located on the vehicle. In this case, it is right in here. So I have a perfect little hole, which I'm going to show you a little up close and personal here in a little bit. So what I do is I tend to stick it in there, and there we have it. That is a detection. That is positive. It's a pretty sizable leak. Number 9. The higher the number, the bigger the leak. So that is confirmed, no doubt about it. It is leaking. Now we're gonna let it purge. Let's go to low sensitivity. Once you get closer to the leak, if you want to pinpoint exactly where it's at, you kind of go to a low setting, which is probably not gonna work too well in here because there's only a particular little spot that the leak There it is. Okay. You got to get really close to the leak to detect it on low sensitivity. Okay. We can mute it if the beeping annoys us. We can mute it, unmute it. So there it is, guys. Let's go back to the high sensitivity. There you go. It's there. Okay. All right, so now I wanna go to the other tool and show you guys that. All right, so here we have our goggles and the flashlight we're gonna use. This is a UV flashlight. Now, just about all the manufacturers and whatnot say that you should use the glasses that came with the system for some reason. I don't know the whole science behind it, but it has something to do with the frequency of the light or whatnot is matched to the goggles, and not just that, but the dye as well has to be correct. If not, supposedly it doesn't work very well. I normally stick to the manufacturer or reputable manufacturers of the dye to purchase my dyes, and they're not cheap. They're not cheap. I just got a new box of dye for it, and it was about $70, $60, $70, something like that. They're not cheap. So now what you do is you will put these glasses on, and I'm gonna actually put them on my camera. I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but just so you guys can have the experience of what it looks like if you've never done this before. It turns everything yellow. I don't know if this is gonna work. I've never done this before. Okay. And then you're gonna use you can either push it to turn it on, or you could twist the little cap here and it will leave it on. So here's this little access panel that I showed you guys earlier. It's kind of hard for me to see and film at the same time, so I apologize. Let me see if I can get you guys in there to see. I hope you guys can see this. You should see it glowing. The dye will glow when exposed to the UV light. I'm not sure if that worked. But with the glasses, you see it a whole lot better because it filters out everything else, and all you just see is that nice little glow in there. Let me see if I can get in here with you guys, and this is kind of difficult. I can see it there. See how you got that glow there? That's where your leak is. Right there. So, confirmed. I use this for confirmation because replacing an evaporator core, not only is it not an easy job, it's a labor-intensive job. So you want to make sure that you definitely diagnose it correctly the first time, because these jobs can cost hundreds, even sometimes $1,000, a little over $1,000, and then that wasn't the issue. You're gonna have a problem in your hands. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if this is your first time watching. If you use different methods or have other ways of dealing with these situations, please share in the comments below so we can all learn something new. And we'll catch you on the next video. Bye.